I thought I was ready, and then I was not ready, and now I'm not ready still. Welcome to another edition of Tech Deck Karaoke. We are excited to be joined today by Melissa. It is going to be an extremely interesting episode. I have no idea what she's brought to present other than the fact that apparently she has set me up for failure, and that is wonderful. Melissa, good morning. Hello. Introduce yourself, please.
Good morning. Thank you all so much for having me. My name is Melissa Palmer. You might know me on Twitter as Vemus. And I'm really excited to be here because I've recently gone out on my own as an independent content creator. So I specialize in interesting, engaging content, whether it be written, audio, or video. And you're going to see a really good example of that today with Joe giving one of my PowerPoint presentations.
That's excellent. I know for me, when I first kind of went out on my own, one of the major reasons was I was tired of working for bad bosses or bad organizations or just organizations that didn't fit me. And what I found was the worst boss I've ever had is myself.
Yeah, my current boss is a little rough. She's got really high expectations. Trying to live up to them is it's interesting.
Sabrina wouldn't know anything about that. Good morning, Sabrina. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. Healthy again, which is very exciting. I couldn't be more excited for today. Melissa, I am rooting for you. I am your impartial judge and yet very partial. Yeah, very excited.
I am partially partial, impartial judge. Excellent. And can you both confirm that I have not seen or had any context as the content we're going to be presenting?
Oh, no, he hasn't seen it.
I do happen to know the title because Melissa came up with it on the phone while we were discussing her coming on the show. So I do know it's titled Ava's Place. So it is named after the ranch, which is named after my mom. It is her place. So without further ado, I think it's time for me to figure out what we're talking about when we talk about Ava's Place. Ava's Place, the ransomware ranch. It's organic, free range, ransomware as a service. That is what we grow here. We've got cattle to kind of keep everything looking on the up and up, but underneath the covers, what we have is a bunch of people in mom's basement attacking all of your systems. So let's talk about that and how it plays out in the real world. Ava's Place, organic, free range, ransomware as a service. Why choose Ava's Place? And let me tell you how it works. I really want you to understand why when you have ransomware needs, you're going to come to me and Ava's Place. First, ransomware as a service. Why this is going to benefit you. Start by realizing what you really do when you're running ransomware on your own. You're trying to attack multiple different companies from one set of perspectives. You really only know your ransomware organization's perspective. Whereas here, we've got the ability to attack everybody and work with multiple ransomware agencies to really get the best knowledge of what works across the board in a repeatable fashion. We're going to take all of that hard work, all of that cutting edge research, all of that understanding what is penetrating the boundaries of security today, and we're going to bring that as a service to you, alleviating a lot of the uplift on your team when you want to steal data or extort money from people with their data. There's no worrying about boring coding for you. Our people love boredom. They have nothing better to do than be bored figuring out how to code these attacks towards your intended targets. We have frequent releases. We focus on new features and fast encryption of your target's data so that you can churn money and ransomware in that Bitcoin fashion faster than with any other service available today.
Excuse me, sir. Can you tell me a little bit more about some of your most cutting edge ransomware features?
Our most cutting edge ransomware features focus on, instead of the big picture, big news attacks and breaches, we focus on the low hanging fruit that isn't being focused on the news. We're looking for simple social engineering attacks that allow us to use identity to propagate throughout your environment. We're looking for environments that aren't segmented correctly so that we can use a single vulnerability to propagate more thoroughly through the environment. We're going for that low-hanging fruit that has a more exponential increase for ransomware attacks so that you can print Bitcoin faster than running your own mining servers.
I'm not sure I'm into the Bitcoin anymore. It's been a little weird. I have some other cryptos I like. Is Avis Place able to help me out with those payments and other forms of cryptocurrency?
Absolutely. While all of our payment systems do revolve around the blockchain and cryptocurrencies, we offer multiple flavors of payment. Maybe you want something a little more stable. So we can give you USD stablecoin tied and pegged to the US dollar so that you know that rapid inflation and deflation of Bitcoin markets won't affect that US dollar pegged coin that we offer your payments in. Does that answer your question, Melissa?
Yeah, I think, but I really like steak too. So is there anything you could do payment wise when it comes to like steak?
Absolutely. So the nice thing about running a cattle ranch as the up and up business for the money laundering we're doing of ransomware currency underneath is that we have ultra premium steak. These are all free range organic cattle. You can purchase them as whole cows live for your own operation. You can purchase them as a whole beef, getting the entire cow in the cuts you choose, half a cow, quarter cow, or even down to select cuts in some cases.
Sounds good.
And then finally, our operation is simple to deploy with great instructions. This is not that piece of furniture you ordered on Amazon that comes with an instruction sheet that shows step 1, here are the parts, step 2, put it together. This is step-by-step spoon-fed instructions to take our simple ransomware operation and make it yours. It is a full white label service allowing you to completely make this your business underneath our coding and our expertise. So why do you choose Avis Place? Our hackers are relaxed and elite. They are the best of the best. Here at our ranch, our hackers relax. They're in the right headspace. They're ready to attack your targets and ensure that you make the most money for your spend on our services. These people are in the right frame of mind. They're treated well. We have an amazing corporate culture. We bring in lunch. We cater events. They get everything they want with full downtime, full PTO, and paternity and maternity leave for 3+ months, depending on the situation. We have detailed instructions. If you're not elite like our people, and I'm talking the top elite people out there, we have detailed instructions on how to get you there. We're not just trying to be your ransomware service. We're trying to make you a better thug. And then finally, next, Double Extortion Pros will teach you how to steal sensitive data in addition to encrypting all the things. How many times have you been bothered by encrypting data that wasn't important to your client? Who wants to deal with the time and hassle of going through all the motions and then finding out the target doesn't care? Oh, by the way, that's log files from 50 years ago. They're not important to us and we're not paying that ransomware. Or better yet, encrypting data that was well protected, backed up to the cloud and secured in some fashion. We make it easy to ensure that the data that you're focused on encrypting and providing ransoms for is the data your client is going to have to pay for. And then finally, we're just going to help you get in. Seriously, get on the network in any way, shape, or form, whether that's through social engineering, through a 0-day vulnerability, through complete penetration testing services. Once you're in, chances are your client is screwed. We'll be able to propagate from left to right, front to back, and north to south without them even knowing we're there. By the time they realize we've been in, they've got a ransomware bill that they have to pay. And oh, by the way, we target companies that are well insured for this. So they didn't even have to worry about the check. Their insurance carrier bears the burden. We get you there, and then we get you the ransom.
Couple questions real quick.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. So Double Extortion Pros, some other ransomware groups I've been learning about are really focused on just like encrypting things and stuff like this. But let's talk extortion, because I know a couple of people out there, like you said, they're taking not the good data that they want to pay for. Do you have any like tips and tricks, or maybe you can open up the learning path a little bit about how do we find the best data to steal and extort?
So that's a great question. There's a few aspects we use here. First, we have algorithmic automation and coded processes that look at this from a machine perspective. But the machine perspective is only going to give us one view. We incorporate or correlate this with social engineering practices to really find out which pieces are driving the business. We further correlate this with the information available on publicly traded companies to know where their targets are, where revenue's being missed, where they're really storing their crown jewels, so that we can figure out exactly what's going on. And then finally, we have a human filtration process that we can use to find even more interesting extortable data. Sometimes while we're in your target's environment, we'll find things that may not be valuable to the business, but that CEO's email to his mistress may have some value to him. And so we're going to find multiple layers to add value and drive revenue out of your ransomware projects.
That sounds great.
How does this work? It is this simple. You just get in. Seriously, that's it. There is almost no environment that we can't penetrate. And the main reason for this is that security principles and theory that are being used to build the architectures in place for most enterprises are antiquated and based on a model that no longer exists. Thanks to the world of perimeter security, everyone thinks they can build castle walls and moats to keep everyone out. And so once you get through that castle wall or moat through a social engineering attack or a 0-day, you have full keys to the kingdom. That means that our service gets you in, gets you the data you want, and gets you back out as quick as possible. We always offer a full money back guarantee to your targets so that they know if they pay the ransom, they will get their data back. But what we do is maintain a presence on their network so that we can go ahead and ransomware other pieces of data they haven't paid for yet. We pay you 20% of the collected ransom in your favorite cryptocurrency. This is no risk to you. You tell us who to target, you subscribe to our service, 20% of that ransomware is paid out to you. The rest is our operating costs.
One more quick question about this. The negotiations, I've heard a lot of these ransomware groups, like they'll kind of start really high and then just go really low to get paid. Can you tell me a little bit more about your negotiation process? Like, what percentage of the initial ransom are you guys usually kind of getting?
That is a great question. So when you look at one of the lost revenues of ransomware, it comes into that negotiation phase where at the end of the day, we just want to make some money. So we're going to continue to negotiate down until they say yes. In our case, we train all of our ransomware front-end experts in the art of negotiation. These are the world's best negotiators designed to state that top dollar and keep that top dollar price in place throughout. They are armed with flowcharts and instructions of exactly how to maintain that top dollar cost. And we pair this with having the best net promoter score of any ransomware as a service out there, based on our targets' reviews of our trustworthiness after stealing their data for giving them the data back. 100% of data that has been paid a ransom has been retrieved by the clients without error, without fail, without re-ransom. And it's that trust between our targets and us that allows us to maintain our high ransom prices.
Oh, that sounds really great, really compelling.
It is compelling. And it is a lot of cost and work that goes into maintaining that level of trust with our targets. I mean, we are getting in and stealing their data, but they need to trust that when they pay us, they're going to get that data back.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, are you ready to be a lead hacker? Join us. Our team is always looking for the best of the best out there. It doesn't matter where you come from, what your background is. We don't require college educations. If you have the elite knowledge we need, I don't care if you're a 6-year-old, it does not matter. We can put you to work. We don't worry about child labor laws. Our business operates outside of US boundaries. So if you've got the skills, let's go hack some clients. As an added bonus, all new clients get an all expenses paid trip to Ava's place, where we can break bread together as I cook for you from scratch. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. I hope you'll think about Ava's Place for your ransomware needs. Thank you very much.
Wow, that was a really compelling presentation, Joe.
I was just blown away up front. I might not what I expected. I did not expect my ranch to become a ransomware as a service.
You didn't know that? I didn't tell you? I'm sorry.
That's the best thing.
You haven't heard the strange noises from the basement lately?
Like all security vulnerabilities, it's all happening already under the covers.
Little did you know. Little did you know. So
hopefully I made a compelling case for why Ava's Place Ransomware as a Service is the ransomware service to use.
I think you did. I mean, it really does sound like, it's a really interesting organization that's just different from all the other ones, right? Because there's so many choices today when it comes to ransomware as a service. Like, who do you pick? Who do you go with as a threat actor? It could be difficult.
Yeah, if you're going to engage with a criminal element, don't you want it to be a criminal element you can sit down and have a meal with?
Absolutely.
Well, Sabrina, did you learn anything about Ava's Place and the operation we run here?
Too much. I felt like I learned too much. No, I was not the direction I was expecting. So wildly, shocked from the very beginning. That took some turns there. I was not expecting. Very detailed offering as well. I was shocked with the level of detail. Yeah.
It is. And hopefully I didn't get too deep, because we can take this down to the lowest technical levels, but I just wanted you to understand the most compelling pieces of how we operate a ransomware as a service business.
Yeah, no, you made that very clear.
It's all about helping those threat actors make the right choice when they're really, starting to do those illegal activities.
Exactly. Threat actors are a real business, and we decided let's treat them like real companies and provide them real services.
Absolutely.
Someone else is.
Excellent. Well, Melissa, I think it's probably time for you to present your slide deck as intended.
Joe, you actually did a pretty good job. I don't think it's going to be that different from yours. I might have a little bit of a spin on it because I wrote it, but I really enjoyed that. You did a really nice job with it.
Why, thank you.
And feel free to, heckle me as much as you would like. And let's get started with my version. Hi, everybody. My name is Melissa. Welcome to Ava's Place Ransomware Ranch. I'm so excited to have you here today. I myself am a new addition to the ranch here. And, I want to talk to you about why Ava's Place organic free-range ransomware as a service is the organization that you want to work with as a lead hacker. So what are we going to cover today? I just want to remind you that after this presentation, Joe has whipped up some lovely refreshments for us out on the back deck over there. But let's talk a little bit more about ransomware as a service benefits. If you're not sure you really want to go down the path of the ransomware as a service model yet, we'll talk about why you should choose our ranch, and then we'll tell you a little bit about how our program works. So ransomware as a service. If you haven't heard about it yet, let's talk about why this benefits you as a threat actor. First and foremost, we're going to do all of the hard stuff for you. I mean, the software release cycle, especially in a competitive area like ransomware, it's really intensive, right? You're always going to have to be testing and coding and testing and coding, because the last thing you want to get in to do is to get in there to deploy the ransomware and have it not work right? So we're going to do all of the hard work for you. When you get a ransomware package from our ranch, you can be assured it's going to work and deploy and encrypt on the first shot. So that means no more worrying about boring code for you. I don't really like coding that much. I'm a little more into stealing credentials or maybe a little bit of social engineering, that kind of stuff. But coding is just not my strong suit. And that's one of the reasons I came to the ranch, right? I kind of saw the product and I saw how it could make my life as a lead hacker just so much easier. We also have very, very frequent releases focusing on new features and fast encryption, right? We want to help you do as much damage as possible to get them to pay that ransom quickly. And one of my favorite things here, and I have a really strong background in documentation, and Joe's got a great technical marketing background too. And we really put that together to make sure that our ransomware is the most simple to deploy with great instructions. You won't be left scratching your head trying to figure out how to deploy this stuff once you're in the network.
So, Melissa, quick question. As you're encrypting data, encryption is usually a pretty intensive operational overhead.
Yeah.
And so how are you ensuring that encryption process isn't impacting user experience or the business in such a way that it becomes noticeable before the encryption has done its job?
Exactly. We don't want them to notice. And one of the things I've brought to the ranch is my expertise in VMware. So we're actually getting ready to release our newest strain of ransomware. It's a Linux-based strain, and we're going to teach you how to go right after those ESXi hosts, get the biggest bang for your buck. By the time the stuff's encrypted, they won't even realize that anything has happened to their VMware environment. It is just going to be such a magnificent software release. So we're really going to go right for those high ticket items and, stop their operations as quickly as possible.
I love the idea of going right after the ESX host. We're going to the basket they put all their eggs in.
Exactly. Really excited about the upcoming release. So why should you choose the ranch, right? For example, we're just so elite here, and that's because we have the most relaxed hackers. I mean, do you see this place, how wonderful and relaxing and beautiful it is? You get to sit and, work on your ransomware, and you're looking at the cows and you're looking at the scenery, and it just kind of helps you just be so much more productive. Joe provides these great home cooked meals. When you need to break things out a little bit, you can go play rodeo over there in the corner and lasso some cows or something. There's lots of different ways for our hackers to relax and really just kind of become one with themselves, so they can really just develop these huge innovations in ransomware, which means more money for you as a threat actor. I've already mentioned our detailed instructions, which are one of my favorite things about our ransomware. If you're not that elite, don't worry. We have all the tools and skills here at the ranch that you need to get to the next level. So just come out to the ranch for a week or two, right? We'll teach you everything you need to know to get into those environments and get in there quickly. We're also double extortion pros. We know the world is evolving, and all these people, they kind of caught on, started backing up their stuff, and then they think they can recover it. And we know how frustrating that can be, which is why we're double extortion pros. We're going to teach you how to find and steal their most sensitive data as well. So we really just make sure that they're going to pay that ransom. But really, all you need to do as a threat actor is just get in. Seriously. Get on the network somehow. We don't care how you do it. We're going to help you with the rest. Like I mentioned, I'm really into kind of stolen credentials and social engineering. That's kind of my specialty. But you know what? There's a lot of great zero-day vulnerabilities out there. My favorite RDP, ransomware deployment protocol. There's so many great ways to get into these environments these days that all you have to do is pick your favorite and get in there.
So question there, if a customer is bought into Ava's Place ransomware as a service and they decide, hey, they've got this figured out, I want to offload everything to them, can you offer penetration and get on the network services as well as the ransomware backend?
That's something that we could absolutely discuss on a case-by-case basis. We're really focused on the ransomware development, but we're such elite hackers here, we do really have a lot of unique skill sets. So, that's something we take on a case-by-case basis and we can absolutely talk about.
Excellent. I love that.
So how does our program work here at the ranch? First of all, like I said, seriously, just get in. That's it. Get on the network somehow. And then, you will have everything you need from us so you can wreak total havoc as quickly as possible. You will have so much stuff encrypted and stolen before they even realize that you're there, that they'll basically have no choice but to pay the ransom. And when it comes time for that, we're going to handle all of the negotiations for you. Again, get in, deploy it, and you're done. We handle everything else for you. And then after everything is said and done, we're going to pay you 20% of the collected ransom in your favorite cryptocurrency. We want to make sure we're just so easy to do business with. However you want that crypto, you let us know. We'll send it through 7 proxies or whatever you want, and we'll get that payment to you as quickly as possible. So, Elite Hacker, are you ready? Come join us at the Ransomware Ranch. Like we said, come visit the ranch for a week for some onboarding. We'll help you up-level your skills, get a little bit more elite, and all you have to do is get in the network and let us handle the rest. As a bonus, we also include home-cooked meals by Joe when you visit the ranch. And if you have any food allergies or food sensitivities, that's what I'm here for too. We can help cater to anybody's dietary needs. As we mentioned, we had some refreshments on the back deck for you. And, come talk to one of us and let us know if you'd like to join the ranch.
Love it. Love it. I now have a whole new business model to approach.
You do. I mean, I just set you up. I hope I get a little commission for this or something like that. I'll take my 20% of this revenue stream of the new venture.
Finder's fee there, right? That's awesome. So I love this. This is a lot of fun and interesting, but I think ransomware as a service in a lot of cases, this isn't so far off from the reality.
No,
right?
That's the scary part. This is literally reality. This presentation I put together for you, it's real. It's happening today. Ransomware groups like to turn on each other and threat actors like to turn on each other's. And lots of these playbooks and internal documents have been leaked over the last course of these several years. And literally these organizations, they put out release notes, they have benefits, they have HR teams, they have paid vacation. They probably work better than most corporations in this country. So this is something that's actually very real and very scary, because that's it. All a threat actor needs to do is to be able to get in, and then you have ransomware as a service, which will take care of the rest for you. So the barrier to entry into anybody's environment is so super low, and ransomware is so readily available that yes, this is 100% true.
Well, I think that opens up a note to our audience that I'd like to point out, and that is this leaves an open opportunity for a Bruce Wayne vigilante type organization to ransomware the ransomwarers.
That's
right?
happened kind of. That's happened a couple times. So it's been you see a couple ransomware groups attacking each other. And then there was a little rumor about maybe a security company might have hacked back or something like that. So there's all this stuff going on. But yeah, maybe the ranch should be the vigilante gang. That kind of.
I like that. I'm a big fan of doing good in the wrong way.
We could work that. We could rework this idea a little bit, Joe.
Excellent. So Melissa, if we take the flip side, I am a threat actor. And I just hired the premium services at Avis Place Ransomware Ranch, and they've built me out a boutique service to offer me all the specialty capabilities that I need. And I'm coming after you as a business. What can you do to better protect yourself from me and Avis Place?
I wish I could give you a single bullet answer, but it doesn't exist, right? So if we look at historically the ways people get in, for the last couple of years, the number one way has been phishing attacks, right? Someone clicks a link in an email. That's actually been usurped recently by software vulnerabilities, right? So now vulnerabilities are number one and users clicking links are number two. So it really comes back to kind of taking a holistic look at your security posture and saying, okay, what are the simplest, highest impact items that I can fix, right? And maybe it starts as a patching program to make sure that I can actually patch all those vulnerabilities in a reasonable amount of time. And then there's a whole user education piece to teach people not to click the links, which people have gone overboard on the last couple of years, right? It's like this game, ha, you fell for the phishing scam, ha, bad person. No one's going to learn that way, right? So there's a lot of education, and it's a lot of just learning your environment and saying, okay, I know I can't fix everything. What are the quickest, highest impact items I can start with? And then, since I know it's going to happen, right? Because with ransomware as a service, again, someone just needs to get in. How do I make sure that I can recover when it does happen? And how do I make sure that I can figure out it's happening as quickly as possible so I can mitigate the damage, that I don't get in and blow up all your stuff and steal all your data?
That makes a lot of sense. And I think, there's a lot of places that aren't the quick fix, but they're easy and low cost improvement.
Exactly.
Right. I mean, I look at things like software vulnerabilities, and one of the easiest software vulnerabilities to create is unsanitized input fields that can be used with, specialized input to take control of the machine. You can have automated scanning of your code pre-release to look for bulk vulnerabilities.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, excellent. So if you were working with a client and kind of consulting them on their ransomware protection future, what are the first maybe 3 to 5 things that you would tell them to look for and prioritize?
Honestly, I would probably say start with the worst case scenario, right? And let's get a really good handle on our data protection strategy. One of the things I love to say is ransomware is a disaster. So if you have a disaster recovery plan today, a disaster recovery plan that's actually tested, like for real testing, and not like, oh, look, I checked the box, so I tested DR, it kind of works. Like if you're actually doing full scale disaster recovery testing and you know you can recover, that's a great place to be in. If you're not, we need to get you there as quickly as possible, because if it does happen, we don't want to be paying the ransom because we don't know how long it's going to take to recover, or we can't recover, right? So it's figuring out everything in our environment and making sure that it's protected so we can recover later. And once we have that done, because it's basically a ticking time bomb, right? Now we go back and we start looking at things. We start looking at, okay, let's look at software vulnerabilities. Let's look at all our users in our environment and implement the principle of least privilege, right? If I am the SharePoint administrator, why can I log into vCenter and manage ESXi hosts, right? That shouldn't happen. So we really need to kind of make sure that everybody just has the access they need to do their jobs. And that's where a lot of this zero trust is coming from too, right? The next evolution of trust no one, right? If I'm a user logging in, I need to keep authenticating. I can't just get to an RDP box and then hop to VMware and do whatever. We're not going to let that kind of stuff happen anymore. So it's really just starting with that high impact stuff.
That makes sense. Now let me take a step back and make sure I kind of understand the ransomware attack workflow so I can understand how that disaster recovery comes into play. So with a ransomware attack, they're finding some sort of vulnerability in my environment, which you can probably find in everyone's environment. They're there. Once they're in, they're finding data and encrypting that data, right? So they're securing it under lock and key that I don't have.
Right.
So that makes my data inaccessible to me. Is that
correct? Correct.
Okay, so if I were to use things like backup for a disaster recovery purposes to immutable storage that's stored off-site, then I can skip the ransom because they've got my primary data, but I've got a protected copy I can restore from instead of paying them. Is that the idea?
That's the whole idea, yes.
All right, that makes a lot of sense. So the simple solution or the simple start here is not the sky is falling, let's protect all the things and batten down all the hatches, which will take forever and an infinite amount of money.
It's going to take forever, and there's going to be so much going on that nothing's ever going to get done. Like, you really need to pick those 1 or 2 areas to start in, not try to boil the ocean and fix security. Put my fingers closer. Fix security in one fell swoop. You're not going to do that. It's just not going to happen.
Gotcha. So the disaster recovery and backups really, it comes down to, it'd be like if I had 2 kids and one was my favorite and you kidnapped the non-favorite, I've got a backup. It's a better copy anyway. I don't have to pay the ransom.
I guess in that case, that's similar. Yes.
You know what? You can keep Johnny. He's kind of a pain anyway. Oh my God, I'm sorry. I pulled a random name out of a hat and I just realized that's Sabrina's nephew. I am not in any way Johnny.
You know, I know you're salty about losing repeatedly, Joe, but when you attack my family, it hurts, you know? It hurts.
Or like maybe we should go the pets versus cattle analogy here. That might work a little better considering you're on a cattle ranch. Like, take one of the cows. I still have another cow. It's okay.
Slightly less contentious. Excellent. Yeah, that was a total mistake there. All right. Well, that makes sense. Anything else? Any other like big tidbits? Any little other nuggets you would want to leave the audience with as they start to think this stuff through?
Yeah, you basically, and I'm not trying to be like the bringer of bad news or anything like that, but I think we've seen enough ransomware these days that we basically have to assume that we will be breached and we will be attacked. So coming from that place, what are the things we need to do to be able to recover? Because that's what we have to do first, right? Because if I get ransomware before everything's protected, like if you liked it, you should have backed it up, right? If I don't have a copy someplace, I can't restore it. So that's where we need to start. And once we're sure that we have everything protected, then we can go back and say, okay, what are the quick wins? What can we do in our environment to reduce the chance of them actually getting in, or reduce the chance that they can go in and just wreak havoc everywhere once they are inside?
That makes a lot of sense. I recently did a keynote for an Information Week event, and on security. And one of the first things I said is the first thing you need to do is change the paradigm of the way you look at security. We used to look at security as I'm going to keep all the threat actors out all the time. Now you need to look at security. Threat actors will penetrate. I will be breached. I will be ransomware. How can I mitigate?
Exactly. And that's a big shift in thinking. I mean, because remember, a lot of these threat actors, right? They're like specialists, right? Like I'm the RDP person, right? Like I'm like the RDP attacker. That's my route of attack. All I do is get in via RDP, right? So you have these people with these very unique skill sets that then can go to these ransomware as a service organizations and just get the ransomware. It's like, I'm really good at getting in this way. I know this. I'm just going to keep doing it over and over again.
Yeah, and that brings up an interesting question. One of the disadvantages we have on the defense side is that in the ransomware world and the threat actor world, penetrating your security is their revenue model. It is their business. Where in your business, something's creating revenue, security is looked at as a cost center. And so you're always underpowered versus what they're going to put.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that definitely takes a new thinking, huh? Well, Miss Schaefer, what do you think? Who presented My Ranch's ransomware as a service operation better, Melissa or I?
The person who, I mean, arguably put an attack on my family, publicly attacked my family, or the person who humorously, put ransomware in such a context that we can, grasp and understand, and that's relevant for today. Which one of those two people do you think won? You know what, Joe? Today's not your day, buddy.
Oh
my gosh. I didn't, just pull the Band-Aid right off. Melissa, you nailed it. You had a phenomenal time. And to your point, I mean, there are real organizations with benefits and vacation days. And, it's just unbelievable when you really unpack what this looks like now. So you did a great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Made it fun nonetheless, because it's a scary topic and something that's impacting all of us. So, Joe, like I said, I'm sorry, not sorry, but another big L on you for this one.
I'm nothing if not consistent. Well, excellent. Thank you very much.
I know you say hello.
Totally unintentional. I'm sorry. Well, thank you very much, Melissa, for joining us. Sabrina, you were here. That happened. That's excellent. And thank you all for tuning into another episode of Tech Deck Karaoke. Before you leave, Melissa, where can they find more of you and get your help with all the things that you do?
Absolutely. You can find me on my website at vmis.net, on Twitter at vmis33, or on LinkedIn. My name is Melissa Palmer, and you'll recognize my picture.
Excellent. And what would you say is one of the top things clients are getting in touch with you for?
Unique content creation, right? So I've been doing a lot of either, like I said, writing, videos, audio work, where we're telling a story, we're educating the group in a really fun and engaging manner, right? Instead of death by PowerPoint, we do a PowerPoint about the ransomware ranch. So if you're looking for a way to really kind of connect with your audience in a fun, engaging manner that will actually take something away from it, definitely reach out and I can help you with that.
That makes sense. And I know that there's, because we work in similar circles and there can be a lot of apprehension about bringing in a third party for content creation and technical marketing and the rest. But where I find the biggest value coming in as a third party is outside perspective. It's your baby. You're next to it all day long. You're raising it. You've got love for specific things that may not be the things that the external audience are going to care about. So bringing in that third party perspective lets you take your story and paint it in a whole new light. And I think there's a lot of value there.
Yeah, and we'll have a lot of fun with it too.
As we can see. Well, thank you both very much. This has been another great episode.
Thank you.
See you soon.